Cuomo was relieved of duty for sexual, I guess we're going to call it sexual harassment.
Yeah, to some degree, obviously. The governor is gone.
So being as famous as you are, and being in certain situations I'm assuming you've been in, have you ever had that issue with being accused of kind of a sexual harassment deal?
Like a psycho groupie that goes to, like, with the bullshit charges just because she's mad you didn't, like, plow her or something? Back in the day.
Because you didn't plow her. That's a hell of a question.
Well, there's psychos out there, these ring rats. They get mad.
Wow.
Go on. Wow. I'm just curious if he got cornered by a psycho.
Now, I have said this before. Many a time.
Okay.
Before all this Cuomo, Bill Cosby, all this stuff came up. My mom told me something a long time ago that shocked me. She said there only been 2 people in America that were slaves. A black man and a white woman.
Whoa. Interesting.
That's what she said.
Dang.
Women have been suppressed. One time I talked to Chyna. It was in Rocky was wrestling as Rocky Maivia. And y'all probably see it. I went on Monday Night Raw with The Rock. That's when Rocky Johnson, the father, jumped into the ring. And they had the match with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart that year.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Sure do.
And
sure do.
I saw Chyna. Chyna at that time was not married to, Triple H was not married to Stephanie then. He was dating Chyna.
Of course.
When Triple H and Chyna was together. So I saw Chyna at the lunchroom. I walked up to her and I said, wow, you look great. You look fantastic. You must have worked very hard to get yourself in that type of shape.
Oh, what a specimen. Yes.
She started crying.
Did she?
She started crying. So I turned it on her, scolding. I said, what the hell did I say wrong? Scolding said, that was the nicest thing anybody ever said to her since she'd been here. I was wrestling in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. And they're going to have a big thing. They brought in Andre the Giant, Dusty Rhodes, Terry Funk, a bunch of big-name guys.
What a territory that
was. They all flew in.
Okay.
They all flew in. All got picked up at the airport. All got treated like kings. Moolah was the world woman champion.
Sure.
She drove.
She drove.
And paid for her own room.
Who was her agent? Dan Marotti?
I
had to.
Bury him.
I had to. Yeah. I'm sorry. All right, Tony, I'll take you out. This one's on me. It's on me.
Now. Don't, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you messed up a wet dream. But anyway.
Holy lipstick. Okay.
I said what I had to say. And no more than need to be said.
Absolutely. All right, let's get back to Moolah. So Moolah's getting hosed here.
People know what I got to say. I can't say any more about him.
There you go.
That's it. If you don't believe me, don't believe me.
Yeah.
Don't.
So Moolah's driving. Moolah's fucking driving.
And I saw that.
Wow.
I saw Renee Richter when she was world champion. She rode with me.
Right.
She didn't get taken care of.
Right.
I saw this.
Right.
This is the first time, and I'm very proud of the WWE. This is the first time in wrestling history
that finally
that women is getting a break in the world of professional wrestling.
Sure.
We are not used to having women in authoritarian positions.
Sure.
Not to get into politics. President Obama was president of the United States when Benghazi happened. They didn't go out to Obama. They went out to Hillary.
Right.
She's a woman.
Right. I got to get this in there. I'm sorry. Rick Howard says Dan always claims to be broke, but then brags about his trips to Florida.
Yeah, which is it?
Just throwing that out there.
Which the fuck is it?
Hate to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Well, we as Americans have to learn how to treat women with the same respect that we treat each other. I worked at a gym in Lewis, Maine, the Gold's Gym, when it first started. There was a woman that ran the gym. She would go back in the back and tell guys to, pick up your weights, don't use bad language, stuff like that,
Yeah.
It's a gym.
Right.
They would call her the B word. So she stopped telling the guy, and she told him nicely. So her husband came back, and he wasn't nice. they did what he said,
Ah.
and then they say, well, he shoot for the hip. He's a straight shooter.
Oh, I see.
So we have always looked at women as sex objects. Well, even on TV now. Even now.
Of course.
Look at all the newscasts. I mean, if you're not gorgeous, you can't work on TV. Look at all. I asked my wife one time, I said, what do you think of American TV? She said, a lot of beautiful women, a lot of ugly guys. You could be an ugly guy and be successful in this country. But you can't be successful if you're an ugly woman. If you're a fat woman, look at WWE. I had a girl named Amanda Storm, one of the most powerful women. She could do 1,000 pounds on a leg press for 10 reps. She could take 250 pounds and put over her head. One of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. Never got a break. She called the WWE. They told her she had to get fake ticks. A woman, even now, had to dress like a prostitute. They look like prostitute. I hate to say it. Think about what the guy they were pushing the other night. I see a lot of wrestlers that is ugly. A lot of ugly men wrestlers. You don't see no ugly women wrestlers.
Right.
Look at the newscaster. Look at Fox News,
Bro,
NBC.
with all due respect, we grew up on ugly women wrestling.
That's true compared to
on,
the chicks
stop.
today. What are you going to tell me? Velvet McIntyre's toes are hot? I don't want to
No.
look at Velvet McIntyre's toes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying.
And your friend Lalani Kai? Your good friend Lalani Kai?
Yeah, but
Wow,
see,
what a knockout.
Marty,
Knock me out, please. Please knock me
Marty,
out.
what you forgetting, when a woman wrestler, there was novelty.
Right,
We
true.
didn't have to look at them every
True,
day.
that's very true back in the day.
They
Very
used
true.
them once, and then they left
were-
and went somewhere
They
else.
were almost treated the same way Sky Low and his boys were.
Exactly, the midgets were the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you go on any independent show, you see a bunch of guys. You don't see women wrestlers. That's why a lot of
Right.
women is not working independent. Most women quit because
Right.
they can't get booked. You go to any independent show, all the people out here know I'm telling the truth. Very rarely you see a woman wrestling
This is
match.
true. No,
the only
this
time
is
you
true.
see a woman wrestling match is on TV.
It is true.
This is all brand new with women are getting the same opportunity
you gotta be
in
pleased.
the wrestling world as guys do. I've been saying this for the last 20, 30 years.
Sure.
People hear me say this 30 years ago. Women have never got the same opportunity in this business as men did. Never.
Well, you got to be pleased with what they're
So
doing now.
getting back
You know.
to what you said, I think Chroma and a lot of these guys are built up frustration for years and years of neglect and abuse by us guys.
Fair enough.
Words of knowledge.
Remember, they went
Fair
out
enough.
to Trump too.
Words of knowledge.
Fair
bro.
enough.
Yeah, think about all the guys that they went out to. You know, it was like the straw they broke the camel back. And now they got the opportunity to fight back, so they're fighting back.
Understood.
But
I
it didn't
guess.
start with Coma. We want to put all of it on him. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But this been going on for a long time. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
we turned a blind eye to. I remember one time back in the
course.
70s, this woman went to a bar, and she was raped by a bunch of guys, gang rape.
Okay.
I remember this. I
Okay.
think it was in the 70s or 80s. If somebody out here could probably correct me on it. I can't remember the year. When she went to court, the guys got off. The reason is
I remember
she
this.
would die because she was dressing provocative.
Right. She had some
And then
nerve
because
wearing
of the
clothes
way-
that day.
right, because
That she chose.
exactly
to
that
wear.
because of the way she was dressed,
This is
it was okay to rape her because she had
Right.
short shorts on.
Understood.
She
I
had
do
Daisy
remember.
Dukes on or miniskirt.
They used
So
it
if
to
you
angle-
wear a
right,
miniskirt, I got the right to rape you.
Right. They used it as an
When I
angle
was a
towards-
kid, every other woman that I
credibility.
saw in the black neighborhood, every other woman in the black neighborhood I knew had a black eye. If you didn't beat your wife, you was not a man. And this is in the 70s.
Ouch.
So now, I'm telling you, now what is happening to us guys, women have gotten tired of our shit, to be honest with you.
Tony, forgive me for this question. Forgive me for this question because I think I know the answer, but I'm just going to ask it anyway because this is what Monty and the Pharaoh do.
What?
Have you ever hit a woman?
Never. My dad used to beat my mom. And so I grew up, I can't take that. I can't stand, even if I saw you hit your wife, my daughter, I would not spank her because my ex-wife said, you just want me to be the bad guy. I said, no. I said, a father is the first love in a young girl's life. And if she accepts being hit by me, and with the same breath I'm telling her I love her, she would accept it from other men. You know? Because if I hit my daughter when she was a baby, then when her husband hit her, she think that how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Women have been abused in this. We don't want to admit it. Women have been abused in this country. Spousal abuse is rampant. Rape is rampant. 90% of females live in fear. There's sexual assault going on right now with these women. What is happening? They fighting back. Unfortunately for your governor here, he's the whooping post for all the abuse that have went on with women. When OJ, not even the police do things about it sometimes. And I love the police. I'm a strong supporter of policemen. I don't believe in defunding the police. I don't believe in we doing nothing with the police. They got a very hard job. I know a lot of them. A lot of them are good friends. They work their ass off. They don't get no respect. If the black community would work with the police, things would improve in the black neighborhood. But when I grew up, if I worked with the police, I would call a stooge, a sledge. This guy just killed my cousin, but I can't report it to the police because the neighborhood would look down on him. So most of the problem that's going on between policemen and black people is black people's fault. Work with the police. Police is not there to hurt black people. Well, why they shoot black people? Why he running? Why he resisting? I'm going to tell you why black people get shot by policemen. You create a dangerous environment. That cop know what's going on in that neighborhood. If you go swimming in a public swimming pool and people is splashing and making noise around you, you don't get nervous. Even though you're in the water, splashing going on, you hear noise, you don't get nervous because you're in a public swimming pool. That's your environment. But if you in the bayou in the swamp in Louisiana and something moving in that water, you're going to get nervous. Now, how you think for policemen to go into a neighborhood where a grandmother gets shot, sitting in her house watching TV? Go into a neighborhood where everybody got guns. Go into a neighborhood where 90% of black homicide is done by black people. Go into a neighborhood where 75% of black kids grow up without a father. 75% grow up without a father. Go into a neighborhood with a population that make up 12.9% of American population, but also make up 60% of penitentiary. Go into a neighborhood where black-on-black crime is the highest crime rate in America. How do you feel being a suburban policeman being faced with that for the first time in your life?
With that, we're going to take a quick break.
My mother said, never judge a man. Now, I have seen some stuff that was uncalled for. Like the murder of George Floyd. That was totally uncalled for.
We're going to get back to that. Let's take a quick commercial break. Let's reel you in. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll get into
people going to hate me, I know this.
No, we'll be right back.
We shall return, folks.
Hi, it's John from Under the Table Hot Sauce. I'm here with my friend, the star of the show, Jimmy Farrow.
Yeah, what's up, JB?
Nah, nothing.
It's been a hot summer, and for all your barbecue needs, you can go to underthetablehotsauce.com. 13 unique flavors to choose from, created and bottled in a Long Island kitchen. Underthetablehotsauce.com. Let's go chow, JB.
Let's do it.
All the flavor, twice the burn. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty Nefaro, on a special Saturday show with Mr. USA Hall of Famer Tony Atlas. Tony, a lot of fans out there saying, preach, brother, incredible human being. We know what an incredible human being you are. We're in the last leg with the great Mr. Tony Atlas.
All right, let's continue. Tony,
Marty, I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to say that because I love my people.
Go ahead.
hit it.
We live in America. I was riding with Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch, which all the rest I knew was a member of the KKK. But he was one of my best friends. How can you be friends with a Klansman? I say, every American is entitled. You are entitled as an American to your belief. That's why we fought for our freedom. Political correctness is for whites only. For whites only. Political correctness, which is wrong. If using the N-word, if you're going to crucify a white person for using the N-word, you should crucify a black person for using it too. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. It's either wrong or it's right. You confusing the hell out of people. If a white person get in trouble for using the N-word, the black person get in trouble for it too. We have to make a law that fit all Americans, not just some. There's no Republican, no Democrats, no blacks, no white, no Oriental, no Spanish. We all should be Americans. And as an American, I, being a black American, I'm going to say what a lot of us old black Americans be wanting to say. Nobody could help the black neighborhood but the black man. I asked Murdoch, getting back to Murdoch, why would you call a full-grown black man a boy? He said, oh, that's simple, Tony. A boy don't have responsibility. 75% of black kids grow up without a father. I wrote a book, Too Much Too Soon. Before I was 12 years old, I've been in over 50 fistfights. Black kids have to protect themselves. Their mother's at work. So the only way for a black kid to protect himself, he got to get a Glock. He don't have a father. He can't depend on the police because he become a pariah in his neighborhood. So he don't have the police to protect him. He don't have a father, and his mother can't. That leave that kid, he said, I need protection. So he joined the gangs. So the gangs become the family. The street become his home. White people didn't cause that. Republicans didn't cause that. Democrats didn't cause that. America didn't cause that. It's boys in men's bodies. If you got a child, and you're not responsible to help raise that child and teach that child and help that child to go in life, you're a boy. If you don't accept the responsibility of a man. Now, my daughter grew up without a father. I'll admit it. I'm not all that great and powerful. My daughter grew up without a father. But I tried to be there for her. Me and her got a good relationship now. I never left her. Me and her mom, we didn't get along, but I was always there for my daughter. Her name is Nikki. She lived in Opelika, Alabama. She forgave me, which thank God, for my absence, but I was drugged out. But as soon as I came off the drug, my wife Monica, God bless her soul, she said, you need to resume your relationship and take responsibility to help raise your daughter. You can't walk away from your daughter the way your father walked away from you. My mother had 9 kids. My dad didn't do nothing for none of us. He was a boy. A boy do not have responsibility. The only thing that's going to help the black community, Al Sharpton, all the rest of y'all know this. Y'all know this. Y'all want to blame white people. They don't. I remember when I was a kid, I was going to work one day. A guy said, ain't no use going to work. The white man don't want you to go nowhere. My mom said, boy, don't listen to him. White people want all black men to go to work so they don't have to take care of them. Who's taking care of black kids? Middle class America. The guy would get him a young girl, impregnate her. Then he move in with her. The government pay for the apartment. The government pay for the food. So in most black families, at least 75% of it, 75%, a 1-year-old child is supporting the adults. Because without that kid, they can't make it. The kids are responsible for the grown-ups because the man won't work. Now, y'all probably get kicked off of YouTube for that, but when I first started in wrestling, it used to be a joke I used to hear all the time. I didn't like it. But then, like Dan Morella, I started thinking about it. I'm a slow learner, remember? There was a joke they used to tell in the dressing room, and most of the old time in the 70s. There's 3 things you can't give a black guy: a black eye, a fat lip, and a job. Now, most of us got thick lips. And, of course, we got black eyes because we're black. But the part that stuck to me the most was a job. If you think I'm lying, drive through any black neighborhood. See what the young black men are doing. But they want to call themselves a man. How can you be a man when you walk away from your responsibility that every man has? What is missing in the black neighborhood is a breakdown in the family. And it's not just black. 75% of black kids grow up without a father. 50% of Spanish kids grow up without a father. But among Caucasian, only 30%. So in other words, to get married, if a young woman want to get married, to marry a white guy, you got a 70% chance of having a successful marriage and a 30% chance of having a bad marriage. If you're Spanish and you marry a Spanish guy, you have a 50-50 chance of a successful marriage and an unsuccessful marriage. If you black, you have a 75% chance of having an unsuccessful marriage and a 25% chance of having a successful marriage. We all have to take responsibility. I wrote in my book, people say, well, did Vince do this to you? What about Saba Simba? Was that racist? Was Vince racist? No, Vince ain't racist. Hulk Hogan ain't racist. No. He gave me an opportunity. I fucked up. Vince had a talk. Vince and me are friends. I love him to death, like a brother. I love Vince. Love the whole McMahon family. They did nothing but help me. I've been hired and fired more times than any wrestler I've been there. Most times they got rid of somebody, they gone. Vince kept bringing me back. In fact, he just brought me back recently to do Legend House. Is I'm right or wrong?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Mm-hmm.
So Vince always had, even though he couldn't use me. Mm-hmm. When me and Mark Henry broke up, Vince could have shit canned me. Vince started saying, well, we got to find something for Tony to do. That sound like a racist dude? The man likes me. I like Vince. We know how we feel, but business is business. He got a business to run. You know, he can't sacrifice his business for his friend. Me and Vince are friends. He's a great guy. Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan built that empire. I love Vince. And I would fight anybody that goes against him. Screw them. They don't know the man like I knew him. I've been knowing Vince since 1978, so I know him well good. getting back to what I was saying.
Well, Tony,
in my book, I know
I got to reel you in.
All right,
because we're down to our last 5 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
bro.
I'm done. I'm
And
done.
I got to get
will-
the Pharaoh's final question in.
Okay, I got to say this. I got to say this, Fred. In my book, I put my success in life I owe to thousands and thousands of people. My success, my failure in life I owe to me, for I am the captain of my own ship. Okay, now I'm gonna shut up.
All right.
I threw wine everywhere, people. Marty gonna kick my butt. I'm not,
It's wine all over the studio.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
That freaking
But
damn
you know what, bro?
Marilla.
I'm glad you got to get your emotion out. Anyway, this has been a great show.
Boy, I threw that shit everywhere.
Yeah.
Dude, it's everywhere.
I'll be on my hands and knees cleaning the studio. So
I'm gonna help you.
no, you just eat the pizza.
I did it.
Um,
My mother said, clean up your mess. Leave things the way you found them.
Mine was wise.
Pharaoh's final question. This is where our own Jimmy Pharaoh goes in his brain, comes up with a final question. We finish off with this question, Mr. Atlas. Have at it there, Jimmy.
Tony, you are obviously one of my favorite wrestlers ever since I was a kid. But recently we lost a wrestler who, oddly enough, and you guys couldn't be more different in the ring, was also one of my favorites as I grew older. Can you tell me your thoughts on it? I understand that things weren't always smooth in life with this, but I respect and love both of you guys. Can you tell me what you feel about New Jack's passing?
Sad.
Okay.
New Jack says some things. I talked to him about it. I was not pleased with what he's saying, but I feel very sad for his plan because he left here and we never had a chance to mend. I've been sad about a lot of stuff. One of the things that I'm really, really sad about that nobody talk about is Brian Blair. His son was murdered. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it feels like to bury a child. So my condolences go out to New Jack family. My condolences go out to Brian Blair. Because, I mean, to bury your child. No. And he got to live with that, you know. New Jack.
Understood.
New Jack did what New Jack did to make New Jack famous, to make him a living. So he attacked a lot of people. The problem I have with New Jack, when he got into the Bruiser Brody thing, that thing touched me personally. I didn't care about him calling me a punk, calling me a fag, calling me names. That didn't bother me. But then we talk about the Brody situation. That got under my skin. Brody was my very good friend. I know his wife. And his son says something, Brody's son says something on the dark side of the ring that just, sometimes I wake up in the night and sweating. Everybody got a Bruiser Brody story but me. That's what I hear Brody's son say. And them words,
Wow.
Words just stick with me.
Wow.
Everybody know a Bruiser Brody story but me.
But his own child. Yeah.
His child never got to know him. Mm-hmm. Brian Blair got to know his child, got to love his child, got to hug his child. Another thing that I want to say, too, to Steve Kern. I never knew this, that people don't know. Steve Kern's father was a prisoner of war in 2 wars. World War II and Vietnam. He was a prisoner of war. Mm-hmm. He was one of the greatest American heroes this country ever did. And Steve Kern is the man that taught me how to drop kick. When he told his story at the gallery, I nearly cried. Jimmy Crockett, Davy Crockett, I want to thank them. They went to Roanoke, dust me off, took me in, put up with my crap, and made me what I am today. George Scott. I have so many people that had did so much for me that I'll be here all day to tell you all the wonderful things that people in this business have done for me. And I feel shame in myself because little by little I let these people down. I let the Crockett down. They forgave me. I let Vince McMahon down. He forgave me. I let Vern Gagne down. He forgave me. I was always forgiven. Now, I want to say, for all those that I have hurt, that put faith in me, my daughter, my wife, my ex-wife, promoters, I'm sorry. because y'all put so much into me. Y'all work so hard to help me. I remember Chief J. Strongboat told me one time when I was on top of the world, said the only person who could beat Tony Atlas is Tony Atlas. So when things go bad in your life, don't look for somebody to blame. It's an old saying, if it's not broke, why fix it? If you don't see nothing wrong with yourself, you're not going to fix yourself. It's easy to blame somebody else. The politician really get me. A guy been in politics for 40 years, and he talk about how bad things is. I would think to myself, being an old country boy, well, don't you work there? They talk like they running for office. They there. You've been there for 30, 40 years. You ain't did nothing to fix this problem. And now y'all here fussing about somebody else not fixing it. We had problems at the borders without back in Clinton. The border problems ain't something that just popped up with Trump or popped up with Biden. They've been going on for years. They don't want to fix it. Fix it. Get together. Start fighting it up. Fix it. Stop campaigning. For once, politicians, start freaking campaigning to all they think about holding their job. And I believe in voting. Here's the reason why. My mother couldn't vote with segregation. I'm the first generation of my family that was able to vote. So stop criticizing each other. Stop blaming. I don't blame anybody for my failure. I don't blame nobody for my drug use, for me losing my career. I blame nobody but Tony Atlas. One guy asked me one time, I said, who was your worst, your biggest, your toughest opponent? That's easy to answer. Tony Atlas.
Wow.
I was my biggest opponent. We always look for somebody else to take the blame for decisions we make in life. And we raise up that way. If I get pissed off at Marty, the first thing I can say, Marty, you made me mad. No, you didn't. When a situation happened, you got two ways to look at it. The glass half full, the glass half empty. You can take responsibility for your participation in what you did. You got a brain. My mother said, use your head for more than just a hat rack.
Nice.
You can say no. I asked my wife, I said, you ever did drugs? She said, no. When I in New York, they tried to get me to do it. I told them, no. Nobody made Tony Atlas use drugs. I'm a full-grown man. I make my own decision. If Marty said, Tony, let's go rob a bank, I have to agree to it. I hear another thing people say, he got me pregnant. Oh, he did? How you do that? Without your participation. How? You tell me. I like to learn that one.
That's a good trick.
He made me pregnant.
Oh, boy.
Or she got pregnant. She got pregnant. Oh, how she did that?
All right. Listen, Tony.
Okay.